you will remember. I will not, so I'm going to have to make notation here. Because I will definitely not remember. Okay, so erase.
In any case, I can see these.
That's the one I know better anyway, so that's good. Yeah, you can see me, and then we'll just skip to the coda, exactly.
Yeah. And I can see the words too, so I can follow you that way. You're singing the
True.
top line when it splits. Hello.
Shabbat
Nice to see
shalom.
you, Stephanie.
Yay, lucky. Hopefully I'll get boosted soon too. Well, I'm waiting for Moderna. Yeah, true. Yeah, it's getting there. I'm getting into a rhythm. It's taking a little bit, but we're getting there. What? A lot less pressure. I have to agree with you there.
Shalom.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do for an intro for that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna do the second line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 4 bars.
So I guess for the coda part, where usually Dana would sing the top line and I would sing the bottom, I'm just gonna sing the top line.
Good, then I can follow.
Yeah, I guess, because I don't know what else to do there. But we'll just read it as is, as far as the length goes. It's so weird being without a mask. You can just like for the Baruch Hu too, you can just like, I think the introduction should be like vamp on the whole, I think it starts in like some minor key, just vamp on that chord.
Oh yeah, I'm trying what the tempo is.
Slow. That way. And this one.
You can just play those 2 bars.
Sure. Yep. And then when we've done it before, we haven't repeated the last section the last time. Like I think typical, coda rules or DS rules, you don't play the repeat on the fine before the fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's very tiny today. I don't know if I have a prayer book, actually. Yeah, sounds great. Perfect.
And Brendan, you'll let us know. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, everyone. I am going to do one thing before we begin our service, which is to share with you we are adapting our mask protocol on the Bima. We are still going to maintain our masks on, except for the person who is talking or singing, which is happening at a distance. And so, to our friends online, to our friends in the sanctuary, I give you, my full face. And so we hope that what you'll do now is take a nice deep breath in and out. And let's welcome Shabbat, beginning with a nigun, a wordless melody. Thank you so much. A beautiful way. That nigun sounded to me like how I feel when I see a sun setting. So perfect for our Kabbalat Shabbat services. Brachim habayim, blessings, and to welcome to everyone. I'm Rabbi Ruth Zlotnick, and I am joined by Merle Sanders and Taran Weber and a few special guest leaders in just a little bit. And we are so grateful that we are here together. Together we kind of figure out what does it mean to create Shabbat together, especially when some of us are at home and some of us are here. And one of the teachings that we learn is that as we light Shabbat lights, we recognize that each of us has a light that glows from within. And so we can feel the light, whether our friends are far away or right here in the sanctuary. And so we'll bring in the lights of Shabbat. I'm really grateful to Connie Rock, who will light the candles. The blessings can be found either in the flip book online or in our prayer books on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And Connie, would you read that?
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen. And thank you. Yasher Koach.
Thank you, Rabbi.
I hear the words of that prayer and I think of this idea of sanctuary. And of course, we mean this physical space where we are now. But we also mean sanctuary in the larger sense. Our prayer books are called Mishkan Tefillah, a shelter of prayer. And I often like to say that Temple Beth Am isn't just a place, but it's a state of mind. And that's one way that we create this sense of home on Shabbat. Home not just with our personal loved ones, but with our home community as well. So let's welcome the angels of Shabbat all throughout Seattle and its environs, and maybe even further afield, by singing Shalom Alechem, our song to the angels. It's on page 20.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Shachel Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzechem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
My teacher from my seminary days, Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, has written, Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence of what we value most, the presence of what is eternal and beyond us, the presence of the one who created us. And that's what Shabbat services are all about. It's about feeling a sense of presence and a sense of meaning. So I'll invite you to please rise for the Baruch Hu as we begin our evening prayers. It's on page 28. Please be seated and join me in reading the English for Ma'ariv Aravim, our prayer for bringing on evening. The Ma'ariv Aravim is at the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And now we turn the page to Ahabat Olam, our prayer about a great and abundant love all around us.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Machavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachbeinu v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yamam v'layla Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yamam v'layla Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yamam v'layla Ki hem Yosir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
And we continue with the Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
It's now an honor to invite one of the two young people who will be called to Torah tomorrow. Gabriel, come on up and help us lead the Via Hafta. Please join Gabriel on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושבנתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי
קדושים
לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet Yasher Koach. Thank you so much. You can return to your seat, and once again, I will try and take this off quietly. Voila. And we continue now with our prayer that remembers that our ancestors were once enslaved and found a way to freedom, and that part of our way of living their legacy is to bring freedom into this world. I am on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Mi Chamocha is on the facing page.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malchutecha ra'u banecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeli anu ve'amru, zeli anu ve'amru. Adonai Imloch le'olam ba'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehidar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehidar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele.
Beautiful. An Alana Arian composition. Thank you so much. We turn now for the central prayers of our evening service, known as Amidah, the standing prayer tefillah. It's on page 46. Please rise in body or spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol v'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imaot, U'mevi Gehula livnei b'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Oser u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Zohu mech noflim ve'rofei cholim, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle, who suffer, who hurt, who despair, and who hunger find fulfillment and safety on this day. May this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We'll continue with the rest of our Amidah in silence, whether guided by the words of your heart or by the words of our ancestors through page 62. When your personal prayer is done, please feel free to be seated.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael hu tefilatam Tamid avodat שפך
That gorgeous prayer was just elevated by you, Merle and Taryn. Thank you so much. And the prayer speaks to the sense of vulnerability that we have in this world and the ways in which we want deeper connection and a sense of wholeness. And it's exactly for that reason that whenever we gather together as a community, we take a moment to say a prayer for healing. And so we'll invite you to say within your own hearts the names of those that you're thinking about right now for this moment of healing. As well, of course, as always, we include those in our prayers who have been challenged by COVID or who have been harmed at the hands of injustice. We continue now with our Misha Berach for healing. It's on page 253.
Misha Berach Avodeinu Misha Berach Himoteinu Uyevarech Mirapeh HaCholim. May the Holy One in mercy give them strength. May the Holy One grant healing to them soon, body and soul. Misha Berach Avodeinu Misha Berach Imoteinu Uyevarech Mirapeh HaCholim. Ben Amar.
May everyone we held in our hearts and our prayers know a refuah shlema, a full and speedy recovery of body and soul. I'd like to take a moment just to highlight an aspect from this week's Torah portion. And earlier I was asked, how was your sabbatical? And of course I was like, right, I took a sabbatical because it feels so long ago now. But it was really wonderful to have 6 weeks off. And part of what I did is I went back to the New York area and saw all sorts of family. And then I came back here and I explored so much here in Seattle. And the real message of my sabbatical, I think, I shared on Yom Kippur, because I shared a sermon. I know you all remember it verbatim, but just in case, just for a refresher, my message was that I believe that Judaism teaches that life is a journey out from the home that created us towards the home of our own creation. And so that was partly because of my own individual experiences, seeing family and friends back in the home that created me, and then coming back and celebrating being here in this beautiful home of our own creation. But in truth, the Judaism piece of that message, I believe, comes from this week's Torah portion, which I know our B'nai Mitzvah will be telling us more about tomorrow. It is the foundational portion in our tradition. It is in this portion where Abraham and Sarah, who at the time are Avram and Sarah, it is at this time they're told to go forth to a land out of their father's house, out of their home that created them, towards a land that they will be shown. And I'd like to suggest that what Lech Lecha is really teaching us is a slight variation on what I shared over the High Holy Days. I think what Lech Lecha teaches is that life is leaving the home that creates us to discover the home of our own creation. And if we base that home on covenantal love and sacred obligations, moral obligations, then our home can be a promised land. I think that's really what Torah teaches us. And I think that because of this week's Torah portion, we have Abraham and Sarah getting the call, and for some reason saying, okay, this God, I'm going to listen to God. I'm going to do this. I don't know why, but I'm going to follow my gut. They got to the land that God showed them, and what happened? A famine hit, and they had to go down to Egypt. And we know in Torah, Egypt represents, it's not great in Egypt. They go to Egypt, they have some surahs there, some surahs of Abraham's making, but we'll talk about that elsewhere. And then they return. And when they return to the land, God extends a brit, a covenant to them. And it's only after that that the land becomes truly promised and blessed, and Abraham moves to Hebron and builds altars to God. I think what we're being taught in this week's Torah portion is that we are all Avram and Sarai. We all have the potential to be Abraham and Sarah. God changed their name after they recognized that the promised land wasn't just a land flowing with milk and honey. That comes later, after Sinai, in the book of Deuteronomy. It's a land like any other, but it is that sense of mutual connection and relationship that happens in the Brit, and it's that sense of obligation to others that happens in our mitzvot. That's what helps us create a home where everything that we hold sacred can be cherished. And that's why Abraham and Sarah had a name change. Abram went from Avram to Abraham, Sarai to Sarah. They both had a hey or that H sound added to their name. And some say that's because the divine truly blossomed in them. H sometimes stands for Hashem, the name of God. So my point is that this week's Torah portion really is the prototype for the spiritual journeys that Torah teaches each human life is on. We all come out from our parents' house, and we go forth and create our own homes. And the question that is asked of us is, are we willing to build those homes on covenantal love and sacred obligations? And if so, then we will be able to dwell in a home in our own promised land. Ken Yehi Ratzon. And the thought is that if we all do that and slowly, slowly we bring those values and act on those values in the world, then we can create a home in this world with all of humankind. And that's the yearning that we articulate in our version of Aleinu L'Shabeach. It's at the top of page 282. Please rise or rise in spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכנת עוזו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. In addition to always taking a moment for healing, we also always take a moment for memory, and I'd like to share with you the words of Maya Angelou, "When great trees fall." When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall, in forests small things recoil in silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examined, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality bound to them takes leave of us. Our souls dependent on theirs now shrink. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing, electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. We remember at this time these loved ones who existed. We're in the week of Shiva for Helene Elner, wife of Harold, mother of Todd, Lynn, and Wendy, mother-in-law of Teal, Mitch, and Jonathan, grandmother of Rachel, Jacob, and Noah Becker. And we're in the period of Shilashim, the month that has passed for Rayner Campbell, uncle of Morrigan Robbins, Beverly Bodansky, wife of David, mother of Joel and Daniel, mother-in-law of Anne, grandmother of Jonathan, Aaron, Rachel, Maria, Sarah, and great-grandmother to Miriam. Marion Jansen, grandmother of Claire, grandmother-in-law of David, great-grandmother of Daniel and Ian. Frances Goldie, mother of Julie, grandmother of Ruthie. Philip Levine, husband of Rachel, father of Josh, Aaron, and Jacob of blessed memory. Father-in-law of Judy and Stephanie. Grandfather to Jasper, Noah, and Tova. We also remember these loved ones whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death, falls at this time. Ida Bryan, Beatrice Davis, Chester Find, Isidore Friedenthal, Sophie Friedman, Dorothy Greenbaum, Laura Green, Henry Grief, Bella Handon, Norman Horn, Margaret Howland, Judith Cortez, Stuart Klein, Sarah Levine, Samuel Levinson, Bernard Mizok, Paul Neiman, Daniel Newman, Marion Perkoff, Dean Randall, Samuel Roskin, Laura Russo, Beline Jayovitz, Tom Swallow, Linda Robke, Mitchell Thomas, Muriel Towns, Richard Webster. And I'd like to invite you to say out loud the names of anyone who here who would like to say a name for Kaddish. If you've lost a loved one in the last year, I invite you to please rise. And if you're here remembering a yard site, please rise. And for everyone else, let's rise in body or spirit in solidarity with the mourners among us. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divra chirute v'amlik malkute, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dekol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam almei almaya. Yit barak v'yish tabak v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit halev v'yit halal shemei dekudasha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yimru, amen. Zikronam livracha, may their memories forever be a blessing. Amen. If you are standing, please be seated. And it has become our custom that instead of saying announcements, which I will just make the announcement that we have everything on our website, so please, and our hearth groups, if you have a passion, you might find it matched in our hearth groups. They just went live this week, and they are filling up. So look at the website if you're interested in engaging in beyond Shabbat. But we do have this custom of making sure that we celebrate together. It's said that if you experience joy, joy always expands exponentially when you share it with others. So maybe you have a major life cycle event coming up in the next 18 hours or so, or maybe there's some other joy, maybe not as big, but a small joy that you've experienced this week. I'm wondering if anyone would like to share, and if you say it nice and loudly, I'll repeat it so our friends at home can hear. Anyone want to share? Yeah. We have a wonderful pair for B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow. We're really, really excited. And so Miles and Gabriel, we say mazel tov to you and to all your circle of loved ones who may have come from near and far. Any others? Anything special happened this week? Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Joey. So Joey said that this is your first time at the shul because of COVID, or since COVID? Oh, wonderful. So first. It's a double Shehechianu moment. First time in shul, period, since COVID. So welcome back to synagogue life. Though, as we say, you can be apart even at home, but also bracha haba'ah. We welcome you on celebrating this very first time here. So thank you for sharing that. Well, I'm going to share one that has to do with you, Jim, which is another first that happened. We have an adult B'nai Mitzvah cohort who are going to be blessed as B'nai Mitzvah and bless us with their teaching on November 20th. And this week was our first week to actually meet in person in the sanctuary, so we can, so our B'nai Mitzvah cohort can be prepared, and Jim is a part of that cohort. So it was wonderful to see you in 3 dimensions on Tuesday night, Jim. So any others? I understand that our chat needed to be turned off tonight, so we hope that you at home are enjoying special simchas here too. And one of the ways that I'd like to think about, we talked at the beginning of services about the idea of sanctuary, and of course it means the space that we all are inhabiting right now, but the notion of sanctuary is so much bigger than that. And here in Seattle, we are so blessed that we have mountains everywhere, that we can feel like we're all a part of this natural sanctuary of this gorgeous landscape. So we're going to close with Essa Enai, our Psalm 121 that talks to looking to the mountains. It's at the bottom of page 339, and please feel free to follow and sing along.
Esa enai el Harim. Esa enai el Harim. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Where will my help come from? 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 My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. Esa enai el Harim. Esa enai el Harim. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri.
Yasher Koach, beautiful. And so Miles, I'd like to invite you to come up and lead us in Kiddush. You'll come right over here. I have a glass of grape juice. I promise it's grape juice. So come on over. And I'm sure Miles would welcome anyone to join him as we recite Kiddush together. So you'll come right here and you'll hold this. And let's just make sure. And if you want, you can take off your mask.
Oh, okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'rieshit ki hu yom tehila lemikrei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat.
L'chaim, and you can take a sip. Yeah. Good. And then a hearty mazel tov to you. You can have a seat again. And I hear wonderful things, and so please join us tomorrow morning at 10:30 as these two young men are called to Torah's B'nai Mitzvah. Wonderful job this evening. So another fun COVID custom that we've created is we have the COVID custom of the challah. And on Friday evenings now, we make sure that there's only one person who touches the challah, and that person gets to bring the challah home. So is there anyone who was hoping to taste challah tonight and didn't have time to run and get a loaf, or who's really looking forward to making extra challah French toast tomorrow? Do we have a volunteer? Either the B'nai Mitzvah families? Oh, okay. I guess I'm making a challah French toast, so I know that my family is watching, and so that's a promise. And so, but please join me as we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon. So, and we also have a thing, if it's a good challah, it's going to be a good week. You guys are okay for the B'nai Mitzvah, it's going to be a great week. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope you have Shabbat joy and Shabbat rest. Thank you to Merle and to Tarin. And to Connie.